Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello, bonjour, ciao, ni hao, hola, good day. Welcome to the World Cup. Road to World Cup 26 podcast, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. The only place to find your regular soccer content. We are gearing up for the new season. There's lots going on here at the network, and I'm delighted to be joined for Road to World Cup 26, Mr. Ken Davies. How you doing, Kenny?
Hello. I'm all right. Actually, it's been a funny week. I've had COVID. I actually got the two lines on my shirt. No, we'll come to that in a minute. I've got two lines. I haven't seen that since like 2020. It's like I'd invented a time machine. But I had found an old test. Well, it was a new test, and I did it, and I got COVID. Either that, or I'm pregnant.
I thought the last time you saw two lines there be on a desk and you were about 18 years old.
Yeah, that was a bit worrying. But yeah, so I've had it. But I'm okay. You know what I mean? It isn't what it was, let's be honest. I'm fine.
Well, I'm glad about that. And I'm glad you're all right, mate, because you've been through the ringer, haven't you, the last few weeks?
Mate, I've just bad run of luck in terms of health. But anyway, I feel fine, so I can't really complain.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, it's good to have you, as always. I'm your host, Nick Britten. As always, we are discussing all things World Cup. Now, we're going to do something slightly different this week. Well, not that different, but slightly different, in as much as thus far, in the last few weeks, we've been covering teams that have qualified for the World Cup. We've kind of run out of teams, in as much as the next batch of qualifiers aren't really going to come through the door until September. And I think we're going to see probably 4 or 5, I reckon, from Africa qualify in September. There are 4 teams who are certainly right on the brink. They need one or 2 wins in their 2 qualifying games should be enough. But for now, we haven't. So, Ken, what are we going to do?
What we're going to do is this. We're fairly confident on certain teams getting through. So confident, in fact, that we're prepared to take a bit of a flyer and cover them as if they have been qualified, or as if they have qualified. If they don't, we're going to look pretty stupid, but not as stupid as them, because they really should qualify. Those 4 teams, by the way, are, wait for it, England, Paraguay, France, and Spain. Now, let's be honest, Paraguay are virtually certain anyway, just because of their position in their group. But let's be honest, is it really going to be a situation where England, who have won 3 out of 3, France, who are just going to be perennially going to be at the World Cup, and Spain the same? It's going to be a very unusual World Cup if those guys don't get through. So we're pretty confident that we're going to cover those 4, and then by that time, we'll have lots of actually qualified teams to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can't be a perennial World Cup, can you? Because it's not on every year. But hey, I know what you mean. Well, look, if we're going to do those 4, because if you're a perennial, it's every year. And the World Cup isn't every year.
That'd be perennial. Anyway,
no, it isn't.
You're right. It goes on forever, I mean.
Yeah, and France always qualify, and they'll probably qualify this time. No problem at all. So if we're going to do those 4, Ken, come on. There is only one place we can possibly start, which is in our backyard, my friend. Our backyard.
Paraguay.
Yeah. And Paraguay. That is it. Has to be. England. Just stand up.
Took a while to get going, didn't it?
I felt quite emotional then. I have to say, I know you're yawning and telling me to cut it off. I could have run it for all 3 verses. But I felt quite emotional at that. I love that national anthem. I love that.
I have to admit,
that's right up there.
it's very sad. This is one of the things I've just realised listening to it like that again. It's a very sad song. Da, 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 da. It's too sad. It's not winning the national. It's not winning the World Cup and national anthems. It hasn't got enough get up and go about it. It doesn't make you want to go and run through the wall for the king or the queen or whoever it is. It's just a little bit too sad.
I don't agree. I thought it was great. So anyway, right, that's the national anthem. We God Save the King, obviously. We are, as we always are, going to go through your World Cup news. Ken will have a look at a bit of history of England in the World Cup, which is one moment of glory followed by years and years and years of failure. I'll have a look at 5 key players I'm going to pick out who I think are going to star in next year's World Cup. Ken will have a look at how they're going to play under new manager Thomas Tuchel. We're going to have a discussion point. We've had a postbag, got a few letters in this week, so we're going to talk about one of those. We've obviously got everybody's favourite time of the week, Kenny's quiz.
And I've got no excuses this week, have I? I mean, if I can't get my home... Well, I'm Welsh rather than English, but...
Well, you're not Welsh. You always claim to be Welsh when you're sneering at the national anthem because you're being a typical Welshman. It's the only time you'll hear it next year, by the way, because Welsh have yeah, come on. I know you were born... Where were you born? In the Wirral. As far as I was aware, the Wirral was not in Wales.
Chester, actually. Chester, I was born. And just to explain that, Chester, of course, got a football team, and they can claim to be English, but they're the only English football team whose ground is actually in Wales. So there you are.
True. That's not true. That used to be true before they moved. There was a great quiz question about Chester's football ground, which was before they moved to the ground. The old ground, half of it was in England and half of it was in Wales. It was a really great quiz question. But then they moved grounds and that was the end of that.
No, anyway, the Diva Stadium, the new one's in Wales. I'm telling you, mate. It is in Wales.
But you're still English because you're from the Wirral. And it suits you. It suits you to be Welsh when you want to be. It suits you to be a Scouse when you want to be. It suits you to come from Derby when you want to be. You're like a chameleon. Make your mind up. We'll finish the podcast, as we always do, with a prediction on how England are going to get on. And I think we might, this is where we might come to blows here, Ken. This is where we might come to blows. But anyway, let's start with a little bit of World Cup. Yeah, when I was saying a little bit of World Cup news, that's absolutely what I meant because there's very little going on at the moment. It's summertime. Not much is happening. But there is one thing to report this week, and that is the news came out a couple of days ago that is, here's a date for your diaries, people, the 5th of December, 2025. Ken, what are you doing on the 5th of December, 2025?
I think I'm having the penis reduction surgery that day.
What, again? Blimey. You're not going to find it.
Failed the first time.
Well, that's a shame. And you still can't see it. That's a shame because it means that I, on my own, will be in Las Vegas because you and I are meant to be in Las Vegas that day watching the World Cup draw. But you can't go now.
No.
So I'm going on my own.
No. Fair enough.
So, yes, that's the news this week is that word has leaked out that Las Vegas is going to host the 2026 World Cup draw when we will all know who we are all playing. And I say we because I presume England are going to qualify. Wales, you can just sort of worry about it or indeed not worry about it. In fact, you don't even need to be there, do you? You don't even need to be at the draw.
No.
Because your team isn't going to be playing. I wonder where they're going to do it. They did it. So Las Vegas did host the World Cup draw in 1994 at the convention centre. Remember when USA last held it? But this year they've got to do it. They've got to do it at the Sphere. You know that beautiful, amazing.
Oh yeah, amazing.
It is brilliant.
Just make it like a football.
And it looks like a football. They could do it out like a football. I went there when it first opened in October 23. I went there to see U2, who are my favourite band, and it was an unbelievable venue. And I don't know if
it does sound amazing.
It is great, and you can decorate it. You can light up the outside of it any way you want. So it's got to be there. You're going to have it in Vegas. Have it, by the way, at the Sphere. But there's a date. Don't you think
they could kind of jazz it up a bit, like have the draw on a roulette wheel and have the number of the team and spin it round the roulette wheel and have the roulette wheel divided into the different teams or whatever, or the different leagues.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah,
that'd be
and
great, wouldn't it?
And if they do have it at the Sphere, they could do the entire roof and the entire 360 as a roulette wheel, so you'd feel like you're inside the roulette wheel, following the number around. That would be a great idea.
They should have us in charge of this, to be honest. We'd create an amazing event.
We would. It'd be a lot more interesting than balls out of a bag, wouldn't it? Let's face it. A lot more interesting.
Yeah. Were you talking about my operation again?
Right, I'm going to move on, because literally that is the only bit of news I can find of any interest whatsoever this week. But it is a good date for your diary, folks. December the 5th, be in Las Vegas, or watch it on telly, or do whatever you want to do. That's going to be when the World Cup draw is going to take place. Right, let's get cracking on then with having a look at England. Ken, what is the history of England as far as the World Cup is concerned?
Well, we didn't participate in the first 3 World Cups because why didn't we participate in the first 3 World Cups, Nick?
Because we weren't invited.
We went FIFA members.
And the first 3 World Cups were all teams that had to be members of FIFA, and we weren't members of FIFA, and we weren't invited to play.
Yeah, okay. I suppose you got that one right. A little bit of a prompt, but yeah. So we didn't, but we have qualified for every other competition except 2. Which 2, Nick?
We didn't qualify. Oh no, we didn't play in USA '94, did we? We didn't play in USA '94. Oh, did we? Did we?
Yeah.
I don't think we played in USA '94. I think
there's only 2. I'll check that while you tell me what the other 2 definitely are.
Well, we played in all of them. We played all of them in my lifetime, so there may be a few that. Have we not? I was going to say there might be a few in my lifetime.
How dare you?
I don't know. I don't know. I thought 1994 USA. I don't think we played there.
Okay.
So I remember the Republic of Ireland playing.
Okay. Well, we definitely didn't qualify in 1974, but you remember Jan Tomaszewski, the Polish goalkeeper, and we definitely didn't qualify in 1978. You remember the one that Scotland went to?
Did we not play in that one? Right, the famous Argentina '78. Yeah, no, England did not reach the World Cup in 1994, mate. In the last time it was in USA. So
wow, that's true.
When we do qualify this time round, as we will do, it'll be the first time we've gone and played in the World Cup in the USA.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't qualify in 1994. You're right, Nick. So there's 3 times they didn't qualify.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, just get your questions out next time. I know more about this than you do.
Okay. So they have qualified 16 times. They've got to the semi-finals twice, in 1990, where they lost to West Germany, and 2018, where they lost in extra time to Croatia. Still got PTSD from that. They won in 1966, of course, making them one of only 8 winners. They won 4-2. 2 questions on this, Nick. Obviously, Jeff Hurst scored a hat-trick. Who scored the other English goal?
Why don't I should know this right off the top of my head? This is such an obvious question to ask. Jeff scored. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Was it Alan Ball?
No, it was Martin Peters.
Martin Peters. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And who scored the German goals?
Absolutely no idea. Who scored Germany? I don't care. I don't care at all.
Well, for anybody listening in Germany who does care, and they should care, it was Haller and Weber scored for. I remember Haller scoring, and I don't actually remember the '66 World Cup. I should point that out, but I've seen the film.
You're in your mid-30s by then. What were you doing that day?
Yeah, I had a day off school to watch it. Now, so that was 1966, obviously, with the winners, and we have never let anyone forget the fact that England were the winners in 1966. Right, form-wise, The last 10 games, you've got to really divide it into Southgate era and Tuchel era, because all of 2004 was Southgate era, all of 2025 has been Tuchel era. But over those 2 years, they've played 10 games. They've won 8, they've lost 2. They lost to Greece 2-1 early in 2024. They lost most recently in a friendly to Senegal, where we were particularly poor, I thought. But under Tuchel, there have been 4 games played in 2025, 3 of them in World Cup qualification, which they've won. Albania 2-0, Latvia 3-0, Andorra 1-0. Talk about dismal performances. That's 90-odd minutes I'll never get back. And of course, so they count, obviously, to World Cup qualification. It was a friendly against Senegal, doesn't really count. So Tuchel's got off to a reasonable start. Here's another question for you, Nick. They are ranked 4th in the world. In fact, since 2019, they've only ever been 3rd, 4th, or 5th, so very consistent in terms of the rankings. In the last 30 years, what's England's lowest ranking?
In the last 30 years? Well, it would have been around that 1994 period, because if you don't qualify for World Cup, you disappear off down the rankings, don't you?
Yep.
So I would say they would have slipped down to 14th.
27th.
Really? Ooh.
27th in the world in 1996, but you're right, it's coming off the back of a bad World Cup qualification and a few dismal results after that. So, but they're currently 4th, and they've never been higher than 3rd.
But 1996 is when we hosted the Euros, and we had that amazing tournament under Terry Venables.
And it all started to go up from there. Yeah, but that was pre that. So the highest we've ever been is 3rd, and we're 4th at the moment. To be honest, I'm not sure we are 4th in the world, but there you go.
No,
so
you've always
according to the ranking.
You've always had a bit of a downer on England, so maybe because of your not Welsh heritage. Right. Okay. Well done. Thank you very much indeed. Interesting stuff.
Thank you.
Interesting. Right. Let's have a look at 5 key players then. In fact, before we do that, Ken, why don't we have a word from our sponsor?
I was about to say the same thing. Me and you, we seem to be on the same wavelength. I was about to interject there, and I didn't even have to, because you, the pro that you are, was reading my mind.
We could be twins.
As we know.
We could be twins. Well, I say we could be twins. We'd be miracle twins. We'd be born.
Yeah, it'd be the longest pregnancy in the history of the world, wouldn't it? It's like the pregnancy of like a blue whale. Yeah, we could be twins if we were both baby blue whales, I suppose. As we know, in football, as in aquatic life, it pays to take or to get your team selection right. Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we did a lot of that, tried to select our delivery partner. And if you listen to this podcast frequently enough, you'll know that we chose Zencastr because it just makes it very easy to bring your vision to life, share it with your audience, wherever they may be. So with 4K video recording, easy AI editing tools, and a top-tier distribution all in one place, it's the obvious place to go if you've got a story to tell. So tell it with Zencastr. Check the show notes for details. We are big fans. Nikolai.
We are indeed. Right, we're going to have a look at 5 players. Now, these are my players who I think are going to make an impact on the World Cup for England next year. Everybody may or agree or disagree. Although if you disagree, you are wrong. If you agree, you are right. Number one, I always like, to be fair, nobody's going to disagree with this, because I always like to start with the goalkeeper, do I not? And I always am very interested. What's the current theme of goalkeepers?
Age,
yeah. Every World Cup goalkeeper seems to be over the age of 30. England is no exception whatsoever, because Jordan Pickford, England's goalkeeper, is 31 years old. And he's been England's goalkeeper consistently since he made his debut in the 2018. He's got 76 caps. He's very reliable. Will he be replaced before next year? No.
Is there anyone even close? Is there anyone pushing him, do you think?
I think there will be very soon. Okay, because at the moment you've got Dean Henderson, you've got Aaron Ramsdale, you've got Nick Pope. They're all good keepers. Dean Henderson's had a very good season for Palace in goal, by the way. Ramsdale was in goal for relegated Southampton, and Nick Pope has been a bit up and down for Newcastle. But I think the one to
very
watch,
much so,
undoubtedly, the one to watch is James Trafford, who's just gone to Manchester City for £27 million. Had an unbelievable season at Burnley last year in the Championship. I mean, unbelievable season. his stats in clean sheets were phenomenal. Man City did have a buyback clause on him because he's been heavily linked with Newcastle for the last 3 years. Newcastle never got him over the line, and they'll be kicking themselves now because he's gone back to Manchester City. And I think if he plays regularly for Manchester City, if he becomes first choice there, then Tuchel's got a choice to make. At the moment, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Pickford's number one. If he has,
Yeah.
if Trafford gets in the Man City team and does well, then yeah, Pickford's place is under threat, and it'll be the first time it's seriously been under threat for years.
And it's a good thing for England.
It is a good thing for England. I've never understood why Pickford hasn't signed for one of the big clubs. He plays at Everton. Okay, Everton have been in a kind of perennial, and I do mean perennial this time, unlike your perennial relegation battle. It seems they just seem to be down the bottom of the table every year for the last 2 or 3 years. And I don't understand why he's not signed for a bigger club, one of the top 4 or 5.
I think it's because there is a tendency. We used to be very proud of our English goalkeepers. In the 70s and 80s, our goalkeepers were the best goalkeepers in the world. I think everyone would agree with that. I think the problem has come is as goalkeeping changed in the course of the last 10 to 12 years, where essentially they became sweeper keepers. They needed to be fantastically good technically with their feet in order to play the styles that Guardiola or whatever wants to play. And that's been the tendency in the Premier League. I think there's been a tendency to go to more technically competent continental goalkeepers who have better distribution than traditionally the English goalkeepers are. So I think that's a reason why we seem to see in the Premier League a lot more continental goalkeepers, simply because they've got to play as outfielders.
Well, yeah, although I am interested to see what's going to happen this season, because there seems to be a bit of a kickback against this possession-based Guardiola style of football. More teams are going direct. More teams are now starting to play the ball a bit longer and starting to start their play in the opposition half. And I think people have realised that not all centre halves are amazing ball players. Not all goalkeepers are amazing ball players. And it seems to. I don't know if you noticed this particularly the latter half of the Premier League season. There just seemed to be a little bit more of.
I did see that
more directly.
Yeah, I did see that. And one of the funniest things in football is to watch Championship goalkeepers try and play it out from the back. It's literally more perilous than, going into shark-infested waters. I mean, they literally don't know what they're doing, but they're trying to play out. And I think it's reached a stage, as you're saying, where things are starting to swing back. The pendulum is swinging the other way.
And it always does. Football never stands still. It always changes. Not much is ever brand new, but it's very cyclical. Football is. Anyway, good luck to Jordan Pickford. He starts the new season in a brand spanking new stadium on the banks of the Mersey, Everton's new stadium. So good luck to him. My second pick is a little bit of a wild card pick, as I like to do, and that's Miles Lewis-Skelly, who is 18-year-old centre midfielder turned left back. Signed his first pro deal with Arsenal in 2023, but his star has arisen ever since at a rapid rate. Having made his debut in September last year, went on to play 23 games in that season for Arsenal. Very much the breakthrough star of the England team under Thomas Tuchel, who gave him his debut in March. Against Albania. He scored. He became the youngest ever England player to score in his debut. He won the man of the match. He was absolutely brilliant. And then he backed it up with another couple of very, very good and strong performances. England have got an issue with their left back, and they've had an issue with their left back for a while. This kid is the answer. If he stays on his game, he continues to learn, he continues to progress, he will be England's left back for a long, long time to come if it works out for him. So I think
I wouldn't disagree with that. Great player.
Great talent. Right, player number 3, England's captain, Declan Rice, the absolute heartbeat of the England team. And when he's on it, England are generally on it. What I love about Declan Rice is that he played years and years and years and years at West Ham. And he was West Ham through and through as a defensive midfielder. Yeah. Brilliant at breaking up the play. Brilliant at getting a team playing again, distribution, all that kind of stuff. But since he moved to Arsenal a couple of years ago, Mikel Arteta has developed his game and he's adapted to now become a real goal-scoring threat as well. So I had a look at some of these stats, and if you look at his stats around touches in the opposition box, in 2022-23, he had 24 touches in the opposition box. In 23-24, he had 71 touches in the opposition box. And in 24-25 season that's just finished, he's had 84 touches in the opposition box. So
He is playing for Arsenal rather than playing for West Ham. West Ham only have 3 touches in the box in the whole season, don't they? Let's be honest.
even so, yeah, you would rarely at West Ham see him get over that halfway line. Now you see him in and around here. Rice has become the complete midfielder, I think. I think he's absolutely. People go on about Jude Bellingham all the time, and rightly so. But for me, Rice is the jewel in England's crown. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah, he is the pivot. He is the pivot of the whole team.
So that's number 3. Player number 4 is one of my favourite England players because he's one of my favourite players in the Premier League, undoubtedly, and that is Eberechi Eze. And let me tell you about this kid. Ken, you may or may not remember this, but you and I saw him play years ago, like 10 years ago, when he was playing for QPR, and we went to go and watch Derby at QPR on a Tuesday night at Loftus Road. Do you remember that? Do you remember?
Was he in? I do remember that. Was he in the team?
Yeah, we were working down there, and that's the first time I'd seen him live.
I get so lonely. That's another story from that day. I shouldn't really share that with everybody, but you remember that story there. You do.
Even if I did,
I get so lonely. Sorry, go on.
I have no idea what you're on about. Right. Anyway, I remember watching him in that game going, who is this kid? He is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he was the best player in the park by a country mile. Okay. And that's not hard when it's QPR v Derby. But this guy was unbelievable. He really, really was. And he moved to Palace. He moved to Crystal Palace in 2020. And in the last 2 or 3 years, he's really, really developed really well. He's become arguably Palace's most attacking creative threat, particularly after Elise left to go to Bayern. This season again, he's been brilliant, playing alongside the likes of Mateta and Sarr, and he's quite rightly broken through into the England team. Properly broken through. Yeah, not a cap here and a cap there. Properly broken through to become part of the setup. He's got 11 caps for England. He scored his first goal this year. So in March, scored his first goal in the 3-0 win over Latvia. Hang on. Excuse me. Oh, frog in my throat. In the 3-0 win over Latvia. And if you look at England's creative attacking options, you're talking about Phil Foden, you're talking about Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Jude Bellingham, Morgan Rogers is making his mark, Morgan Gibbs-White is very much on the fringes of things. England have got quite a lot of attacking talent in there. In my opinion, Eze's the man. Eze's the man.
Wow.
And I know Chelsea fans are going, no, rubbish, Cole Palmer. And I know, well, actually, to be fair, after the season he's had, no Man City fans going to go, oh, yeah, what about Phil Foden? But I think Eze is your man because he's never not involved in the play. He very rarely has a poor game. He's brilliant at picking up the ball from deep and running and picking up wide and running in field and create. He's never afraid to just run at people. I think he's absolutely sensational. So that's the 4th player, and my 5th player, of course, and there's only one left. There's only one way I can go with this, and that is, of course, Harry Kane, who continues to be England's main attacking threat. His stats are insane. Okay, 73 goals in 107 games for England, 213 goals in 317 games for Tottenham. And in the last couple of years when he went to Bayern, 63 goals in 62 games for Bayern. I mean, people moan about Kane, and I know you're one of them.
I do.
They moan that he's slow, they moan that he's injured, they moan that he's past it. But we have no natural successor in the England team. We've got nobody who's ready to step up. You know, you look at Ollie Watkins, you look at Ivan Toney. There's nobody of Kane's quality. And I like Watkins, by the way. I do. I like Toney. But I don't think he should have gone to play in Saudi. I think that was a massive mistake.
Yeah, it was a big mistake.
But there's still nobody who's capable of touching Harry Kane. And yes, he's the wrong age. He's the wrong side of 30 and all that. We know that. But he's still England's talisman. He still gets the goals. And he'll still be there this time next year, firing England in the World Cup. So they're my 5 players, Ken.
Very interesting, and yeah, I mean that's a good mix of the established and the emerging. So yeah, I wouldn't disagree with any of them. I think all of those players are going to be very very influential for England in the next couple of years.
In many ways, we have a real pool of talented players, an embarrassment of riches almost. So I could have picked maybe 5 other players, and they still would have been valid, apart from the goalie. So yeah, I think it shows that England are in a good place. The question is, of course, how are they going to set up? How does Thomas Tuchel like to set them up?
Well, that's an interesting one because Tuchel is something at a club level, and that's really what we can base this on. He's a bit of a tactical chameleon. He's a bit of a chess player. I'm going to coin this phrase. He's a bit of a grandmaster. You know what I mean? He's tactically very flexible, very pragmatic. He adjusts quickly. This is one of the big criticisms of Southgate, I felt, and one of the reasons they went for Tuchel. Tuchel's got a reputation of being able to change tactically on the fly and has got a really deep understanding of tactically what he needs to do and very subtle changes which actually can just change the dynamic of a game. I think Southgate, quite rightly, was criticised about his inability to do that and not react, if you like, to formation changes in the opposition. Tuchel's really, really, really good at that. So he's got this real tactical adaptability. There's a quote from Tuchel that I read that he said, "My footballing philosophy is an aesthetic one. Aesthetic meaning to control the ball, control the rhythm, attack every single minute and score as many goals as you can." Didn't quite work out like that against Andorra, but we'll work on the basis that he knows what he's talking about. So when I was looking at Tuchel, because there's no point looking at how Southgate's set up. It's all going to be about how Tuchel sets up. He's developed when he was coach of Paris Saint-Germain, essentially it was a 4-3-3. At Chelsea, he really set up as a 3-4-2-1. That was his favourite formation, with the wing backs providing the width up front, bombing on and providing the width. When he went to Bayern Munich for the last couple of years, he's reverted to 4-2-3-1, and in fact 4-2-3-1 is what he plays with England. So I know it's your favourite setup anyway, where you've got you've got your fullbacks deeper and the width has been provided, if you like, by the midfielders. So that seems to be how he's settled and how he's, if you like, emerged over the course of the last 5 or 6 years, and that's what he played for Bayern. And when he took over England, that's the setup he's been playing with England. He changed for some reason to a 4-4-2 against Senegal, but that was probably just trying a few different players out. Against Andorra, Latvia, and Albania, 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1. So, and both of those were against kind of 5-4-1s. So against teams that he felt were going to be difficult to break down. The only argument one might ask, and he knows a lot more about this than me, 4-2-3-1 can be seen as a bit defensive. And against teams you're going to have to break down, maybe you don't need that second defensive or sitting back midfielder. Maybe a 4-1-3-2 might be more appropriate. And in fact, in Germany, he did have a little bit of a reputation of finding it difficult to break down defences, and also a susceptibility to the counter-attack. So he's going to have to be careful about that. But he seems to be very fixed now, 4-2-3-1. I think that's exactly how they're going to set up. They've got the players for a 4-2-3-1 as well, I think. But that seems to be Tuchel's approach.
Very good, very good. Yeah, that's. I think that's what we've seen so far. Yeah, what we're likely to see. Okay, we're going to move on to a little bit of a talking point. And curiously enough, we've had letters in this week, as always. Thank you very much indeed for those of you who have got in touch. But we've had one about England, so we're going to focus on that today. I think, Kenny, you've got it. Before we go down this road for this week's postbag, though, I'm a bit worried about you, mate. You've been through the ringer in the last few weeks. Well, because you were playing before, then now you've had COVID, then you had your 5-day Indian wedding and all that kind of stuff. And it's fair to say that after the illness,
it just felt like it.
It's fair to say that after that, your body, and not in a good way, was most definitely unique. The good news is, I think you've got a note there about how you can make your body unique in a good way.
Yeah, I have, because we partner with Bioniq and they make the world's most personalized supplements. Because your body, my body, Nick's body is unique, and mine's more unique than anybody else's today. Because without knowing what deficiencies you've got, taking off the shelf supplements mean you're probably not getting enough of what you need. You're probably getting too much of what you don't need. So Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs, exactly the right levels, no guessing. So go and check the show notes. Click on the link and use the code GSPN 2025 for your 40% discount off your first order. And that's the first thing I'm going to do as soon as this podcast is finished.
Good. If there are any pedants out there who are listening to this who are shouting at their phones at the moment going, how can your body be more unique? Yeah, I'm with you. I hear you. You're either unique or you're not, but you can't be more unique. It's impossible.
Oh, dear.
See what I've got to deal with.
I feel such a fool.
You see what I've got to deal with here, people. Right. Okay, Ken, you've got a message in. It's good. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased because you know who's back? Angry Matt is back. We hadn't heard from him. We hadn't heard from him for
Matt.
No, he's not mad. He's just angry. And if you don't know who Angry Matt is, if you had listened to our earlier podcasts, he is a Nottingham Forest supporter. Nottingham Forest play in the English Premier League for now. And he seems to be permanently angry at everything. And he always got in touch with us, but he was never kind of happy about things, even though Forest qualified for, they qualified for the Conference League. After dropping away at the back end of the season. I'm allowed to say this because I'm a Derby fan. But then they've been bumped back up to the Europa League, totally unfairly, because Palace, who won the FA Cup, look like they're going to get kicked out. The last chance appeal is due out very soon. I did hear the date the other day when Palace get their final Court of Arbitration appeal. Let's hope the Court of Arbitration see sense, reinstate Palace into the Europa League, because that'll be a victory for football because they deserve to be there as FA Cup winners. Anyway, Matt got in touch. Not heard from
Here, by the way.
Yeah, he's been back in touch to talk about Morgan Gibbs-White. But I think you've got the email that he sent in because I haven't got it in front of me. Have you got the email that he sent in?
Yeah, all it says is enjoying the podcast. Well, thanks, Mad Matt. One question. One question. Has Morgan Gibbs-White done enough to cement his place in the England 11?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And Ken and I were talking about all of this in the week as we prepared for this show. And yes, folks, we do prepare for this show. We were talking about Gibbs-White, and we're talking at length because he's been in the news recently because it would appear he was trying to force a move away from the City Ground to Tottenham Hotspur. There was a bit of shenanigans going on and something nobody really kind of knows what happened other than the fact that it looks like his agent might have leaked the confidentiality clause, the buyout clause to Tottenham without consulting Forest first. Tottenham then put in the bid that it was his buyout number, which was I think £60 million, and Forest went absolutely crackers. And the whole
that was a coincidence, wasn't it? A huge coincidence.
Yeah,
they just happened to guess exactly the right number.
I know. Even more of a coincidence, though, is that Morgan Gibbs-White, having signed a new contract for Forest now, says how much he loves Forest and how much he believes in the project. I mean, who would have thought? Yeah, who would have thought that?
I think his agent needs a pay rise, quite honestly. He's engineered a nice situation for MGW.
He has. He has and he hasn't, because you're right in as much as he's got him a bigger contract and like the likelihood of a move away next year. Equally, his reputation as a human being hasn't really done anyone any favours here, because if you think back to when he moved from Wolves to Forest, all the Wolves fans, he did the dirty on Wolves, according to the Wolves fans, and they all got the inflatable snakes out.
Whether football agents are human beings is still up for debate, isn't it? I'm not sure they fall asleep at night worrying about their reputation in quite that way.
No, maybe not. Anyway, what's your view, Ken? What's your view? Has he done enough?
No, and in fact, my view, I thought a good angle on this, and I'm sorry if I drop this one on you, but I'm going to, is the only way you can really work out whether Morgan Gibbs-White has done enough to cement his place in the 11 is work out what your 11 is. And is Morgan Gibbs-White in that 11 or isn't he in that 11? So I did that. And as you were saying earlier, we have in our midfield, and I consider him a midfielder, an absolute abundance of talent in England. And it's very difficult for a player to force their way in. And, I've got, if we're setting up as a 4-2-3-1, as we said we were going to do under Tuchel, you've got Bellingham and Rice sitting as the two. And you've got, for me, you've got, anyway. let me tell you my team then, and then we can. So Pickford in goal, no disagreement there. I'd have Alexander-Arnold, Konsa, Gahey, and Lewis Skelly across the back, 4. Bellingham and Rice sitting as the 2. Saka, Palmer, Eze as the 3, and only in the absence, because there's no one else, Kane up front. So that would be my 4-2-3-1. So there's no place for Gibbs-White in that.
The question is, and I'll give you my team in a minute. It differs. What position then in a 4-2-3-1? Where would Gibbs-White play? Because he's not a holding midfielder. Would he play as one of the 3? Because he's not really that either. He's kind of box-to-box midfielder.
He is. I play him as one of the 3. I don't think you can see him in sitting back in the midfield. So I think he's very much an attacking threat. So I'd actually have him as one of the 3, and I don't see him forcing his way in there.
Is he a victim of maybe that formation? If England played a different formation, might it suit his game? If they played a 4-3-3, for example, would it suit his game better?
If they played a 1-1-9-0, he'd probably get in. But in most formations that we can see Tuchel's ever used in his life, Morgan Gibbs-White doesn't force his way into that.
So is he even a bench warmer? Given the attacking,
he's an impact player. He's an impact player. I can see him coming on for after 70. I can see him, going up against some fatigued defenders and that working out quite well, particularly if it isn't working for whatever reason. But I think that's the best it's going to get for Gibbs-White. I have to say, also, I should preface this: I don't think Forest are going to have the season they had last year next season, and therefore I think that's going to affect his chances as well.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, I picked my England team because we said this is what we would do. There's a few changes in there, and this is based on the fact that everybody's fit, by the way. I have got, obviously, Jordan Pickford in goal. Now, my back 4, I've got Reece James as right back, so I think he's a better right back than Alexander-Arnold. I've got Mark Gahey and Jared Branthwaite in the middle. Jared Branthwaite, by the way, I think he's a sensational talent. He should be England's first-choice centre-half next summer, all being well, if he can stay fit. That's the key thing. And then I've got Lewis Skelly at left back. So James Gahey, Branthwaite and Lewis Skelly along the back. And then as my 2 holders, I've got Declan Rice as one of them. I didn't want Bellingham as a holder because I don't think you can have Rice and Bellingham as holders. I think that just negates too much of their natural talent. So I've gone for Conor Gallagher in there as a holding midfielder. And the reason I've done that is because against the teams where we are on top or dominating, you can release Rice and Gallagher will just sit. So you talked before, didn't you, about is it too defensive sometimes when you don't need to be? Or if you need to attack. Well, if you need to attack, you need somebody who will just sit. And I think Rice...
I'd rather release Bellingham and keep Rice in the back and release Bellingham.
Well, but I think given that we've talked about how Declan Rice has adapted his game in the last couple of years, he's a proper goal threat. Not only that, but he's a proper talent in and around the area, threading through those passes, making things happen, setting up goals for other people. So I've got Rice and Gallagher as holders with the caveat of being able to release Rice if need be. And then my 3 behind Kane, I've got Saka on the right, I've got Bellingham in the middle, and I've got Eze on the left. And then I've got Kane up front. So
it's not a million miles different to us.
It's not. I mean, look, Cole Palmer, you can't argue against Cole Palmer sometimes. My difficulty with Cole Palmer is I think he's an unbelievable player, but I'm slightly worried that the season that he's had, he's kind of, when he's on form, he's unbelievable, but when he's not, he disappears. And if you're at a World Cup, you can't have players that disappear. One of the things I like about Eze is, as I mentioned a bit earlier on, is that he always in the game. He's always in the game.
It's interesting in your lineup and in my lineup, there's no place for Foden. Foden gets on the pitch before Gibbs-White under Tuchel, I'm sure.
Well, he probably will under Tuchel, but he won't if he has this season coming up similar to the season he had last time.
That's
Because
a hugely important season for him.
he had a terrible season last year, and I feel for him. He's been speaking around his mental health issues. I'm not criticising any of that, and certainly not criticising him because he's an absolutely brilliant talent. If we can get the Phil Foden back of 2-3 years ago, he walks into the starting lineup. By the way, he's in the team. You've got to put him in the team. He's brilliant, but he
Instead of
difficult
who?
one.
Well,
who knows? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know though because Foden will want to play on the right, Saka will want to play on the right. So who knows? But do you find a role?
That's weird, isn't it? Because I know Foden does play on the right, but Foden's a left footer.
But do you can you play him through the middle at all and then shift Bellingham back to be one of the two DMs and then remove Gallagher? I don't know. There are things you can do, but at the moment, I'm not even sure Foden gets in ahead of Gibbs-White, if I'm brutally honest. Because Gibbs-White's had a great season on form. If we play tomorrow, I don't think Foden gets in ahead of Gibbs-White.
Yeah, I think Foden might get there on reputation, but it's between those two in terms of who's the next tier. I think we both agree here that Gibbs-White's not getting into the starting 11 tomorrow, but he's probably in that second tier. He's probably on the bench expecting to come on.
Yeah, and likewise, we talked about Morgan Rogers. He's making his mark, and he can play in any of those three. We've got lots of talent, and who knows what this season will throw up? There could be even more.
Where's our weakness? Where's England's weakness?
Do you know what? When I watch England, I always think, and this is, and obviously we've only seen a couple of games under Tuchel. You can't really judge how England are going to play properly under Tuchel. Under Southgate, they're always just too cautious. You sometimes think, just release the players, just go for it a bit, take risks. You look at the players sometimes, you think there's a wealth of attacking talent in the team, a wealth of creativity, and yet we were boring to watch, and we were quite cautious, we were quite conservative in our play. That's a weakness because it means if you're then not scoring goals, you're very susceptible at the back. I still think our centre half pairing is an issue. I don't think we've got a really solid centre half pairing yet.
Correct. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
I think our defence is still susceptible.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I put Reece James in at right back. He's had his injury issues. Obviously, Kyle Walker was there for years and years and years. Yeah. Alexander-Arnold has got so many questions about his ability to defend at the highest level.
Yeah, you're
right. So maybe right backs are different. I'm hoping Lewis Skelly will be our left back. But in the middle, since Harry Maguire kind of fell out of the picture, we don't have that dominant centre half. I'm hoping Branthwaite will be it. I think Gahey is it. They could be amazing together. But we've also got Conser who's been playing in there. We've got players who are in there, but it seems to be a bit of a revolving door at the moment. So Tuchel will have to make up his mind on what that's.
I think that's our weakness. I don't think we've got a world-class defence. I really don't. I think we have got a world-class midfield. Probably the best midfield in the world. I don't think we've got a world-class defence, and I think we're going to come to that later on. But I think that is a real area that I'm going to be focused on the next year.
Yep. No, that's absolutely fair enough, mate. That's absolutely fair enough. Right, let's get on with the show. It's time for everybody's favourite time of the week. Oh, Ken's got his pipe out. This is always a good sign.
I'm going to imagine if I get some of these wrong. It's terrible. Well, I'm Welsh, though.
Yeah, you will be by the time we've finished this. I wasn't going to ask this question, but I might as well, seeing as you were moaning about the English national anthem earlier on. The English national anthem, as we know, has 3 verses. Do you know the first line of the third verse?
Is it God Save Our Gracious King?
No, that's the first line of the first verse.
Repeat it all the way through.
No, it's thy choicest gifts in store, on him be pleased to pour, long may he reign, etc., etc. Anyway, that wasn't part of the quiz, so I'm not going to count that against you. But I'm going to do something a bit different this week, and I'm going to give you the choice of questions here, mate, because I'm taking my quiz this week from English Heritage, that fine English institution that it is very much our green and pleasant lands, everything that English Heritage looks out for. I've got I've got a 50-question quiz
What?
by English Heritage.
50-question quiz.
Yeah, I'm going to allow
The
you
World
to
Cup will be
pick.
over by the time we finish that.
You're not going to do
Okay.
50. Choose 3. So pick a number, and I'm going to ask you the question, whatever that number is.
Right, 13.
Oh, lucky for some. Right. Number 13 is, who is the oldest surviving London Blue plaque commemorated to? Who is the oldest surviving London Blue plaque commemorated
Uh, Samuel Pepys.
to? Close. The answer is Napoleon III. The plaque to Napoleon III, the last French emperor.
The famous English person.
Yeah,
Great.
hey,
That's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. Thanks a lot.
the plaque to Napoleon III was installed in 1867, and the design includes the French imperial eagle. It is said that he left his London home in King Street in a great hurry to return to France when he heard of the overthrow of King Louis Philippe in 1848. His bed was left unmade, and his bath was full of water. Typical French, eh? Can't even empty the bath.
It's a good excuse, though, isn't it? Imagine, have you made the bed? No. Have you not heard about Louis the 19th or whoever he was running off to sort out?
I've got to get on the Eurostar. It leaves in half an hour. I've got to get back to France to become king.
I feel a bit cheated by that question because it's nothing to do with England. But go on.
That's why you don't ever choose number 13, mate. That's why.
All right, number 26. Number 26.
Right, let's roll the Las Vegas wheel. 26. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good one, mate. What caused considerable damage to Whitby Abbey in 1914?
I think that is going to be something to do with the First World War and some kind of bombardment. It's either a bomb dropped from a Zeppelin or it's a naval bombardment from the North Sea by our friends, the Germans, the Hun. I suspect it was a naval bombardment by the Germans from the North Sea.
You're absolutely spot on. The answer is the shelling of Whitby by the German High Seas Fleet. So the west front of the Abbey Church was hit during the bombardment, causing much of it to collapse. However, the damage was later repaired using that original masonry. So they rebuilt it using the original masonry. But yeah,
that makes no sense, by the way. That makes no sense. The west front, because they're going to be firing from the east in the North Sea. How the hell do they hit the west front? I'm just saying. Well, unless they've got some kind of boomerang shells.
Yeah, banana shells, yeah. You've not heard of those. No, because if you're firing from that way, you're going to hit the west front of the Abbey Church if you're firing from the east, aren't you?
You're not. You're going to hit the east, aren't you? It's going to be facing east. Come on, Nick. When was the last time you shelled an abbey from the North Sea?
Well, just the other week.
Last Tuesday, wasn't it? Tuesday it was. Fair enough.
And the funny thing is, I hit the west front of the church when I was doing it. So
I stand corrected.
Well, if you think they're wrong, please write to English Heritage. Please don't complain to me. Right,
it's got to be wrong.
1 out of 2. It won't be. It won't be, and I'll find out why.
Okay.
Right. That's 1 out of 2, mate. You've got one more question to go to turn this around from defeat into victory.
39.
39, Ken's lucky number. Oh.
Don't be looking at 40, 41 because it's harder. I can tell that expression in your face.
No.
39.
I thought I knew the
Margaret
answer.
Thatcher.
Well, maybe the answer is Margaret Thatcher, because the question is, who did Harold defeat in the Battle of Stamford Bridge just before the Battle of Hastings?
He defeated Harald Hardrada, the Danish Viking king.
Do you know what? I was going to give you that. But actually, his official title is the King of Norway, not the Danish fighting Viking king.
He's a Viking. Harold, but I got his name right.
No, I'll give you 100% for that. Well done. And you were straight in. You didn't even have to think about it.
Did you not know that?
No, I didn't. I thought it was somebody else.
In York, for God's sake. I mean, it's just down the road.
I didn't grow up in York. I moved to York when I was 16. I grew up in South London.
But literally, it's like 3 miles away from York, isn't it? Stamford Bridge.
Oh, it's Chelsea's ground. It's in West London.
Different one, mate.
I've been through Stamford Bridge. Yeah, you're right. It is very close to York, and you're right. It's Harold Hadrada. On the 25th of September, Harold defeated Harold Hadrada, King of Norway, and claimant to the English throne in a hard-fought battle at Stamford Bridge near York. Mate, you've done brilliantly there. You're 1-0 down, 2-1 up. You've won the game. You have beaten.
Yeah, and the only goal I conceded was to Napoleon III.
Yeah, although technically it was a draw because you didn't get the national anthem. No. But no, well done. That was probably your best week yet. I'm just looking down this. Yeah, I know. But bizarrely, there's an Ed Sheeran question in an English heritage quiz. Do you want to know what it is?
No, I really no. We've had 55 minutes of relatively top quality kind of information, and we don't need Ed Sheeran involved.
All right, don't need Ed Sheeran involved. Right, okay, well done, Kenny's quiz. Right, I'm going to have a very quick look at Thomas Tuchel, the England manager. And the only thing I need to worry about Thomas Tuchel is, unlike any other previous England manager, he is a serial winner. Now, you and I disagree, and I know we disagree on whether Thomas Tuchel should have got the job. You're one of those little Englanders who think that it only should have gone to an England person.
No.
Changed your mind, have you? You've seen the light.
Au contraire, mon ami. I'm quite happy with Tuchel.
Oh yeah, I didn't think you wanted. I thought you wanted an English manager in charge of England.
No,
I can't
I'm not
stand
a dinosaur.
Well, I beg to differ. But yeah, you may be right on this. I really don't understand, and do not like the attitude of, oh, it's the England team. You must have an England manager in, because if we had to have an England manager in to replace Gareth Southgate, who are we going to get in? Who's going to win us the World Cup? And you've got your pipe in here, which tells me you know the answer to this question.
Phil Parkinson.
Well, exactly that. Yeah, that's your best bet. So he's manager of Wrexham, just in case you're wondering. And Wrexham are a small team in Wales who are this year about to play in the English Championship. Right. He gets so happy. He hates me calling them. Obviously, they're one of the richest clubs. They'll be the richest club in the Championship because they're owned by those American actor people. And Ken is so smug about it. It's painful.
So excited.
I know. All these players you've been linked with. There's another one today, by the way. There was another one today that I saw Wrexham being linked with. You're just going, no other team in the Championship can afford these players. You're just buying your way.
That's just their agents just saying, oh, Wrexham are interested. They're not interested. They've got another couple more spaces. That'll be it.
Right, Borussia Dortmund then, where he started. He won stuff at Borussia Dortmund. He went to PSG. He won Ligue 1. He won the Coupe de France, Coupe de la Ligue, UEFA Champions League runner-up with PSG in 2019-2020. Moved to Chelsea, where he did win the Champions League the next season in 2020-21. Then won the UEFA Super Cup that year and the FIFA Club World Cup, which, of course, Chelsea have just won again a couple of weeks ago. He then went to Bayern, where he won the Bundesliga. He's had a fantastic career. He's a serial winner. He's won loads of individual awards. He, if anybody, is going to win the World Cup for England. If anybody is, he's the sort of guy we need. Just bring him in for a couple of years. Don't worry about the backstory. Don't worry about any of the England connections or the blah, 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 blah. Bring in somebody who can win you the World Cup. And if anybody can win us the World Cup, other than Carlo Ancelotti, who's just gone to Brazil.
I was about to say, Carlo Ancelotti, come on down.
Yeah, and obviously, there are people who can win the World Cup. That's not the point. My point was, who's going to take the England job? And it's not, it's not the most popular job in the world. Who's going to take the England job? Who can win the World Cup? Looking at the list of names out there, and Ancelotti was never even on the list. Tuchel was by far and away the favourite. What's your opinion of him, Ken?
I like him. I think he's the kind of tactical professor, grandmaster that we need. I think that's been our weakness in previous World Cups, that people have outthought us and outfought us a little bit, but definitely out-analysed us. I think he's going to be very good at that. There's a couple of things just to be mindful of. He's got a reputation of being a bit of a dictator. You know, he doesn't like dissent. He doesn't like people pushing back at him. There's lots of stories of players really getting the rough end of Tuchel's tongue if they disagree with him. And he also quite likes frequent player changes. He's one of those managers that will pick a team for a particular occasion, for a particular match, and a particular setup, particularly against the opposition. So I think it's going to be a team which has got a lot of flexibility and a lot of adaptability. I think a lot of the players are going to have to learn to work with Tuchel. But I think if it all comes off, England have got their best chance in a generation, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. There are some great managers out there. We talked about Ancelotti. Obviously, you've got De La Fuente in Spain. You've got Scaloni in Argentina. You've got Didier Deschamps in France. Deschamps has been in charge of France for years now, 13, 14 years. I'm surprised he's still there. There's some great managers out there. But yes, Tuchel, I think, has got a real chance for England, which takes us on to the very last bit of the podcast as we hit the hour mark. Oh, Ken. What do you reckon? What are England's chances? Let's finish with the predictions. What are England's chances?
Quarterfinals. Don't see it getting any further than that. I think, as we touched on earlier, I think they've got some great strengths. I think they've got some great weaknesses. I worry about Kane. I think Kane, another year in Kane's legs, he doesn't get any faster. Honestly, he'd be running backwards if he got any slower, to be honest. So I've got to worry about how I know he's got a fantastic track record, but eventually he's going to get found out on that. And I think the World Cup could be that place. I just hope either Tony or Watkins can step up to that. I'm not sure they're quite that calibre. I think we've got a problem at the back. Jordan Pickford isn't the greatest with distribution from his feet. I think that's going to be a problem. We've got a fantastic midfield. I think you put all those things in, England could have one of those teams that could go brilliantly well for them. It could go horribly wrong for them. My betting is they're going to exit in the quarterfinals. Nick?
Which would make us a worse team under Tuchel than we were under Southgate. Nobody wants that. Oh, nobody wants that. Right. Okay, I'm going to go one step further. I think we'll be semi-finalists. I think we've got enough about us. I kind of agree. I do kind of agree with your analysis in terms of at the top and the bottom end of the pitch. In terms of we don't really have anybody to replace Kane. I think we've got a year to sort defence out. I'm less worried about defence. And if Trafford did have a good season and came in, I'd be okay with that. You're right in terms of who have we got to replace Harry Kane. Nobody, but will this be Kane's swan song? What a great arena to go out on. What a great arena to go out on than helping fire England to the latter stages of the tournament. They've got enough in them to get to the final. They have, but I don't know whether they will. I'm going to have them going out. I think they might just be. We talked about Argentina before. We all know Spain are going to be great. We haven't featured them yet. We were looking at Brazil. Are they going to be a resurgent under Ancelotti? France are always there and thereabouts. Could there be a wild card in terms of Ecuador or teams like that?
Mexico.
Mexico we've talked about. So, are some teams out of nowhere based in that part of the world going to have a great World Cup? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of competition, but I'm going to go semi-finals for England. See how we get on.
Couldn't disagree with that. I mean, there's every chance if things go well for Tuchel. But, I still think, unfortunately, we're going to be saying 4 more years of hurt at the end of 2026.
Maybe so, maybe so. We'll see. Let's hope not. Let's hope next year is our year. Right, okay. Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Now, next week, Ken, I'm starting my World Cup 2026 preparations by visiting America for a couple of weeks. I'll be going around every single stadium, talking to every single player, every single coach, or doing none of those things, and instead enjoying a few days away in America. So, mate, it's over to you for next week's podcast. What are your plans?
Yeah, and I've got Paraguay. Can you imagine? I'm going to talk 45 minutes of. By the time you come back, if presumably you're going to be listening to it on the flight back, you'll know everything that you'll ever need to know about Paraguay's chances in World Cup 26. I'm looking forward to doing it.
And I'm very much looking forward to hearing it because that'll be interesting because they're pretty much nailed on to qualify. So I like these South American teams. I'm interested to see how they're going to get on. But for now, that is your deep dive into England. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week doing whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world. From Kenny and I, look after yourselves, look after each other. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.